People in Tehran, Iran woke up this morning to smoke-filled skies and raining oil after the Israeli military overnight struck fuel sites in the capital city, sending flames and toxic smoke high into the air. Joining us now is President Trump's Energy Secretary, Chris Wright. Thank you so much for joining us, Mr. Secretary. So let's start with these images out of Tehran after the Israeli military says it struck fuel sites in the Iranian capital. Is this going to be a new continuing strategy for the U.S. and Israel targeting Iran's oil industry?
No, there are no plans to target Iran's oil industry, their natural gas industry, or anything about their energy industry. If these are Israeli strikes, these are local fuel depots to fill up the gas tank, in this neighborhood in Tehran. The U.S. is targeting zero energy infrastructure. So we want to end a 47-year war.
CNN's Fred Pleitkin's on the ground in Tehran, and he reports thick black smoke and oil raining from the sky. One resident told CNN, it, quote, feels like we're suffocating. I know that the president has voiced concern for the Iranian people in the last few months. You are a former energy executive. What are the health impacts from these strikes on fuel sites?
Of course, there's air quality impacts of that, but I would focus on the thousands of American soldiers that the Iranian regime has killed over the years. They opened their regime by kidnapping 66 Americans and holding them hostage for over a year. 3 years later, they killed hundreds of Marines in Beirut, doing nothing of aggression towards Iran. And then they continued that through IED bombs in Iraq. So this is a murderous regime. In fact, they recently killed somewhere between 10 and 30,000 of their own citizens protesting their murderous regime. So that's a far greater worry than a few days of lower air quality in Tehran. They're just not even on the same magnitude.
Let's talk about gas prices here at home. The head of Gas Buddy's petroleum analysis told me a few days ago that 2 of the 10 largest single-day price increases in history happened this week. The price of oil jumped 36%, the largest one-week spike since 1983. President Trump told Reuters about gas prices, quote, if they rise, they rise. Is that really the message of the Trump administration to consumers who are already struggling?
Oh, the Trump administration has been all in on lowering energy prices, and I would say quite successfully. We've seen a dramatic decline in gasoline prices and diesel prices. Soon you will see it in electricity prices as well. So Trump administration, in stark contrast to the Biden administration, his goal has been to lower energy prices. The Biden administration quite successful in raising energy prices. Gasoline today is still $1.50 a gallon cheaper than it was in the middle of the Biden administration. But you're right, we want it back below $3 a gallon, and it will be again before too long.
Well, what do you mean by too long? How much longer?
Look, you never know exactly the time frame of this, but in the worst case, this is a week's. This is not a month's thing. This is Iran has continued to build up their capabilities. First, a massive expansion of their missile program so that they can shield the completion of their nuclear program. It is simply unacceptable for the United States, for the Middle East geography, and for the world economy to have a terrorist regime with nuclear weapons and a gigantic missile arsenal. They've raised energy prices for Americans for decades. It's finally going to come to an end.
So one of the reasons for the spike in prices at the pump is roughly 20% of the global oil shipments pass through the Strait of Hormuz. That traffic has ground to a halt since the war began because of Iranian threats. The Trump administration says that the U.S. Navy has offered to start escorting oil tankers through the strait. Have any oil companies taken the Trump administration up on that offer? And when might those escorts begin?
Well, a large tanker went through the Gulf about 24 hours ago, through the Straits of Hormuz. So we're still focused right now on continuing to attrit their missile and drone capability to reduce their ability to disrupt traffic, to attack their 10 neighbors that they have been attacking. And that work is going tremendously well. Their missile launches are down by 90%, well over 80% reduction in their ability to fire drones. So yeah, we're not too long away, I think, before you'll see more regular resumption of ship traffic through the Straits of Hormuz.
It's great that a tanker made its way through, but as you know, it's usually 60 to 100 a day that make their way through.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, yeah, we're nowhere near normal traffic right now, and that'll take some time. But again, worst case, that's a few weeks. That's not months. For months, the Trump administration. And we have that oil. We have the world is very well supplied with oil right now. The United States is a net oil exporter. We're a net natural gas exporter. We are suffering high prices, not in natural gas, but in oil, because it's a globally connected market. We're communicating with our allies abroad. The oil is there. You're seeing a little bit of fear premium in the marketplace, but the world is not short of oil today or natural gas. So for months, the Trump administration has used economic sanctions to pressure allies like India to stop buying Russian oil. But because of this war, the Treasury Department just gave India a 30-day waiver allowing them to buy Russian oil. The Kremlin says it's already seeing, quote, a significant increase in demand for Russian oil. This at the same time that the Russians, according to an intelligence official to CNN, are helping the Iranians know and locate American service members and targets in the region in this war. Is this war undermining, at least in the short term, the administration's goal of isolating Russia and making allies less dependent upon Russian oil? It is not. The United States policy towards Russia has not changed at all. India is very clear on that. They had displaced all Russian oil imports, and they were raising their imports from the United States, from Venezuela, and other nations. India's been a great partner through this. But I did call up the Indians, as did Treasury Secretary Bessent, and say, look, there's a whole bunch of oil that's floating to wait to unload at Chinese refineries. Instead of having it wait 6 weeks to unload there, let's just pull that oil forward, have it land at Indian refineries, and tamp this fear of shortage of oil, tamp the price spikes and the concerns we see in the marketplace. It's just a pragmatic effort that has a short time span. No change in policy towards Russia. Energy Secretary Chris Wright, thank you so much for joining us this morning, sir. We appreciate it.